Welcome to It's Settled with Stefanie Lyles. I am your host, Stefanie Lyles, and today I have Skyler Mantooth, who is my oldest offspring. Skyler, why don't you
Hello.
introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Skyler. Many of you probably forget about me because I went to college. And then my little sister stole the show. She's doing cheer now. But here I am. Live up in Rogers. I work for MasterCard. It's been pretty fun. My mom's a pretty awesome person.
Aw, thanks. So, no, yeah, people don't forget about you when you go to college. Don't want you
I
to
was
think
just
that.
messing.
Yeah,
It's
because
just messing.
actually, you're remembered quite a bit because it's like every time I needed somebody to run to the store to get milk or,
Oh, Skylar. Skylar has her driver's license.
my God, yeah, yeah. So, but no, seriously, your presence was duly noted and definitely missed when you moved out. But
Aw.
yes, it's kind of strange for all of you parents out there who haven't had one fly the coop yet. It's really weird when you have an adult child and you see them doing things that's all impressive, like, I don't know, organizing their apartment or feeding their cats. You're like, look, you're a grown up and you're doing so great.
I think what's even weirder is for the kid, aka me, to grow up and you realize everything that you once like made fun of your mom for, you are now doing.
Such as what?
So, such as, oh, mom, like, let's go do something. Let's go get out of the house, and then you start to like get
Mhm.
into your 20s and you just absolutely don't want to do anything. And now you like finally understand where the sudden exhaustion or the I'm just gonna hang out with my cats at home comes from.
Tell me more. So, what you're saying is now you remember all those times where I had like, babies hanging off of me and I'd been working like 12 hours. And you're like, but mom, I just need to go, like, I just need you to drive me someplace that's like 3 hours away. I don't know why it's such a
Yeah,
big deal.
and
Yeah.
you just go from being completely oblivious to everything that you had to do as a mom to like now being like, oh my god, I don't even have children, and I am like, I would never want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that you, though, like I always knew when you were super young, I was like, it's like Skylar will be all right. She could be in an emergency situation. She would be able to figure out how to rent an apartment, how to put gas in her car. She's going to be able to be kind of scrappy and get through life, But I feel like
Yeah,
Everly, who is also scrappy in a different way, she just has different social skills. Um,
yes.
because I feel like she would be the ones, her method of survival in an emergency situation would be let me go find my sister.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trend on TikTok where girls have been calling their dads and saying that they've been putting diesel in their tanks as a joke? And I
Yeah.
was thinking about it and I was like, if I ever did that to Blake, he would not believe me, first of all.
Yeah. He
Because
wouldn't.
he would be like, no, you're messing with me. Call you later.
Well, he might think I would do that. He would definitely, yeah, he would believe that I did that before you because
Maybe
you,
it's because he put me through garage boot camp most
oh, for
days
sure.
about
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah. So for the audience, Skylar knows how to change tires and change oil, do all the maintenance basically on any kind of auto mechanics that there are.
But I will say, him giving me that hyper independence in the auto department has really put me at almost a disadvantage because now, like, I have to do everything myself. And I can't be like, hey, can you, like, do this for me? Now
Yeah,
it's
but
all up
that's
to
like
me to
a,
do everything.
however, that is invaluable for you as a life skill, because you never know when you're going to be like broken down on the side of the road in South Dakota and there are no
Yes, this is true.
people anywhere, to help you. That's also like a built-in measuring stick for men in your life.
Yeah,
Like,
this is true.
so you can automatically, if you start talking to a dude, which you've been in a relationship with Elias for a long time, but I'm saying like prior to that, if you just randomly talk to a guy and out of the gate, you can ask him, what are brake pads? And depending on his answer and his quickness of response, like you can filter out a lot just from that simple question. Do you know what a brake pad is? And if the answer is a slow yes or a no, then you can just be like, well, you're not the guy for me.
What's so interesting is coming from Cabot, which is a place where I feel like, the majority of boys know general like maintenance for cars. And then coming to Fayetteville, where boys know absolutely nothing about cars, was a huge shock for me because, for one, for some reason, everyone up here, every guy is like my height, which is 5'7". And like, I feel like everyone I went to school with was at least like 5'10", 6 foot. But I came up here and I was like, this is so interesting.
Yeah, that's because these Cabot boys are being fed like the extra strong corn because they got to make
Yeah.
really good they got to be big football players, so
Yeah.
there's something different in the food, I guess.
Maybe so, or maybe it's like the lifestyle up here. Everybody's
Yeah.
a cyclist, everyone's vegan, and like I never really understood any type of dietary restriction, anything like
Yeah,
that.
I
Until I
mean,
came up
go,
here.
yeah, like go for, if that is your thing, go for it. And I have mad respect for people who have that kind of self-control and devotion. But I just, the taste of bacon is so great that it deters me from ever considering any sort of vegan lifestyle or vegetarian lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's even crazier is the majority of the restaurants in Cabot, it's like you got steakhouse, you got Mexican, and then you've got like fast food. Up here, there's almost always like a vegetarian menu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like an
So
island of Arkansas.
it really is. Yeah. So Northwest Arkansas is the bougie, um, fancy slice of the state. If you're not familiar
For
with
sure.
Arkansas, it's really different. It's a lot. There's a lot of industry and commerce that's come into Northwest Arkansas, and so it's like a mecca of culture. It's pretty amazing. So Skyler, you have you're an industrial engineer. You're a math lady, and you've always
Yes.
been mathy, sciencey. So how was your experience as a female excelling in math in high school and in college? And did you ever feel like being a female held you back in any way?
No, I mean, of course, there's going to be people that make those jokes, say, like, oh, you're a girl, I honestly think it gave me an advantage because the majority of people didn't expect, like, an attractive woman to be able to, achieve as much as they did. And so I feel like I could kind of sneak up on people and they would
Mm-hmm.
talk to me. And because I had that social skill, because I
Mm-hmm.
had like these other traits that typically engineers don't, I
Mm-hmm.
think I was able to achieve more because of that. I think
Yeah.
it's really cool because you meet a lot of other girls that are the same way in
Mm-hmm.
your field, in your major, and your brains all work the same. And
That's
so,
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah,
And yeah, because you were also involved in a sorority, which is really a very girly social thing, but you're
yeah,
also a super nerd. You're very, like I said, into numbers and data analysis.
mm-hmm.
Um, but that's encouraging for other women and girls out there to hear that you didn't feel impeded in any kind of way. But
I
yeah, you know how it
honestly,
is. If you're a cute
yeah.
lady, I mean, you're adorable, of course. So, um, what you're saying is sometimes you feel like people were shocked to find out that you could be cute and smart.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, I would have different groups of friends in high school. So I would, like, kind of group hop because I didn't really hang out with one set group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they, like, saw me at graduation, like, giving a speech, they would come up to me afterwards and say, like, I didn't even know you were in AP classes. Like, I didn't even know you were smart. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just, like, so strange because I had this group of AP friends that I hung out with, and they knew me obviously, but I never really talked about like my grades a whole lot. I just kind of hung out with my friends, and so
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting to see that like their assumptions of me
Mm-hmm.
and how differently it played out, vice versa.
Yeah,
But I
that's really
honestly
cool.
wanted to say, like, the only way that I would ever feel like different from anyone else doing math or engineering is if I went out of my way to distinguish myself as different. Like, as long as you just see yourself as a student above all else, I feel like that's just setting you up for success.
Mm-hmm. But if you decide to be the person that hops into class every day on a pogo stick, then obviously you're going to be recognized as the crazy pogo stick lady that comes into class every day.
Yeah, there were quite a few people I had in my classes that would bring interesting items in. In my general engineering class, my freshman year, this one girl, she would do like macrame. I don't know. It was like this like circular
Like
kind of,
needlepoint.
maybe she was like putting a needle in, pulling it back out, and she was, I don't know, Minecraft. Do you know what that is? Okay,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
she would do these like little needle like sewing things of like Minecraft images. She would sit
Okay.
in the front of class and do it every single day.
So are these intro classes or are these like advanced engineering classes?
This was my freshman year, so this was our
Okay,
general engineering
because
class.
I can't really see, you being in your capstone group and somebody whipping
Yeah,
out some
no,
Minecraft cross stitch and being like, "Yeah,
no.
guys, carry on. I'm just going to be over here doing my needle point."
What is cool about the U of A is that it's really like particular in how they filter you. So they give you a presentation over all of the different like sections of engineering. And I feel like certain personality types were drawn to the different ones. So like everyone in my class had the same personality and had like the same goals. So we all were like, we hung out all the time, or like we were all super social and talkative in our classes. And then like whereas CS was kind of, computer science was more introverted, like it attracted
Mm-hmm.
that type of group. So it
Mm-hmm.
was cool to see like how it filtered each of our personalities.
Yeah, that is cool. So I mean, I kind of feel like my accent has been one of those things that people have made false assumptions of me about in my life. And you don't really have an accent like I do. Um,
No, I mean, I guess it kind of went away when I came up to college, but still
I
some
think,
people say I sound Southern. So
see, that's crazy because all three of you, Everly and Lucas, grew up in Cabot, which is smack dab in the center of Arkansas, and none of you have an accent. And it's crazy to me. But, of course, my mom sounds like Paula Dean.
yeah,
So there were times, that I was kind of worried in professional settings. I'm like, how do I need to get some voice coaching? What's the deal? Because I have such a strong vowel slant to my words. Um, but you're right. People can hear you over the phone and it's, hi, y'all. My name's Stefanie Lyles. How can I help you today? That doesn't necessarily spark confidence in one's intelligence.
yeah,
So it's really hard uh, to be aware that you're not making false assumptions about people based off of, what they look like, what they sound like, because that's very misleading.
I feel like accents are one of the biggest ones, because a lot of people that I've been on calls with, immediately that's the first thing they notice or comment on, rather than the business transaction that's happening, or rather than the project that we've got to get done. So, and it's actually like spoken about the least, because I feel like Southerners are less reluctant to speak up about, oh, hey, like, don't think I'm stupid because of my accent. We're just going to prove you wrong.
Yeah, I see that. But that for a while, you kids, I would be on calls, and they were like, "Oh, it's a work call because Mom's got her business voice on."
Yeah, I frequently, when you would go to voicemail, I'd be with friends. I'd be like, "Hey, this is Stefanie L. I would speak with your voicemail, and everyone was like, "Your mom sounds so cute. Oh my gosh!" Like, and it sounded normal to me, but everyone else was like, "Is that your mom? Oh my gosh!"
Right, but yeah, exactly. Oh, your mom sounds cute, instead of your mother. Your mother sounds like a fierce businesswoman.
Yeah. Well, and then I would go and I always brag on you all the time to my coworkers, my friends, everybody, and they kind of ask me about like questions like, "Oh, how did you do this and whatnot?" I always default back to you because I feel like I inherited the best traits from you. So,
well, thanks. I appreciate that. But I think sometimes it's not about your traits that you inherit. It's just about being aware of what's going on and letting that skill come forward. Because you're not afraid to try stuff. You're not afraid to be like, "Hey, somebody needs to be rescued. I'm going to jump in there and try to rescue them." Or, "Hey, I've got a friend who's broken down on the side of the road. Let me try to help." You're not afraid to jump in there and try to problem solve. And I guess that's why you're going to be an amazing engineer.
Thanks.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your two pets? Let's get down to business here. Let's do a little show and tell.
It's kind of funny because, like, everyone in my family, I feel like, including you, is not like a huge cat person. So everyone has always been like, "Oh, Skyler, you only want cats for a little bit." But I begged for a cat like nearly my entire life.
Yeah, and you wanted a cat so bad.
For real. And I feel like it's definitely not like a Southern pet. A dog is more of a Southern pet. I will show you the first lady of the hour. This is Miss Juniper. She's my oldest. She's the best. She's the quietest. I definitely have favorites.
Juniper is getting really large. I'm not saying that in a negative way. She's beautiful, but oh my goodness, she's huge.
She's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
This is the other one. This is Violet.
That's Violet. Now, Violet started off as a foster cat, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I knew that I was going to have her, but the way that the shelter worked that I got her from made me foster her for a couple months till she got spayed and everything. But
did you ever think about sending her back?
Plenty of times, because frequently I wake up in the morning and she is like, she tries every method possible to get her breakfast earlier. And she recently has been like biting my hair, and she'll bite my face, or she'll like find a way to uncover me from the covers. It's insane. And she's very vocal, but she's being good right now, of course. You can see her little ear right here.
Yeah.
Say hello.
So that's exactly how like birth order of human children goes, because you were a very calm baby when you were a toddler. You loved, you did all of the like solo activities, used your imagination, and I could take you anywhere. My second child, Everly, has to have 100. You have to hire a marching band, a concierge desk, everything to entertain this child. And then Lucas is the entertainment.
Do you think that's because they're born with the presumption they already have a sibling, and so maybe like mentally they think that they're going to be entertained naturally?
I don't know. But you can go on TikTok. It's hilarious because they've got some of these birth order videos and people talk about
Yeah.
like the different personalities, and it's so true. And then by the time get to your final child, if you have multiple kids, you're just kind of like, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
It's all gonna work. It's all gonna work out.
What's so funny is when Mom brought Everly home, I was like, "Oh, we get this cute little baby," and then she started crying. And I was like, can we take her back? Like, me and Evie are best friends now. We hang out a lot more now. But at first, I was like, I didn't know about this.
Yeah. And then when Lucas was born, Blake was like, I'm afraid Skyler is going to try to eat Lucas because you loved him and you thought he was so cute.
You guys need to find, that are listening, you guys need to find a photo of baby Lucas, because I may be biased, but he was actually the cutest baby ever. He had the most massive chipmunk cheeks and like super blue eyes, and I don't really remember him crying until he was like 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he was like,
he never cried. I mean, yeah. And then Lucas went from, when he started talking is when he started being like a boy for real.
Yeah. And when we moved into that new house, the Greystone house, was when I think it started unleashing, because he had all of that like alone time upstairs.
Exactly.
He used to make concoctions in the carpet with shampoo, conditioner, nail polish.
It's crazy, the stuff that he painted his eyelids with red nail polish. I
think he squirted an entire tube of hair gel on his head.
No, it was hair putty.
Oh no.
Yes. So it was literally like he had stuck his head in a bucket of Crisco. So here it is, 11 o'clock at night. We had to use straight Dawn dish detergent to get that out of his hair. He literally took the whole jar of hair putty and then was just, I flushed all of Everly's squinkies.
Oh my gosh. There was a time where, a switch kind of flipped with me and Lucas. He wasn't like so tiny and like I couldn't play with him like he was one of my dolls anymore. Mm-hmm. He started getting really into football. And so he would come in my room either like during the day or before I had gone to bed at night and steal my retainers. Like clear retainers. He would wear them like a mouth guard, and I would just be sitting in my bed. I would hear do 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 down the hallway. He was doing football drills with my retainers in his mouth. And then once he was done or thought he was going to get caught, he would throw them down the laundry chute. And I would have no idea where they went.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got into a lot of my stuff.
When Skyler was in high school, you had just started driving, and so you were always wanting to leave the house like before anybody and get to school really early. At least that's what you were telling me. You were probably not going straight to school.
I definitely was getting straight to school.
But anyway, so
teachers.
So one morning I walk into the kitchen and there's this huge note. Now Lucas was at the oldest 6 years old at this time. And it said, Lucas, give me my retainers back or your switch is mine, or $50.
Oh my gosh.
Signed Skyler.
This was like the peak of his acting upness.
So he had taken your retainers, he was playing football, and he was using your retainer like they were his mouthpiece. And so he did not return them, and you took his Nintendo Switch as collateral, and you got them back, didn't you? Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I'll always do is follow through.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing around because I had worn braces, well, not super long, but so that was something that was really important to me, was wearing my retainers, keeping my teeth straight. And
but let us,
upset.
Exactly. But the bigger question is, what kid sees his sister's plastic retainers
Yeah,
and
says, I'm
is
going to
like,
put that in
let
my
me
mouth. Yeah.
yeah, let me put this in my mouth, because obviously that is what this is made for.
No
These
brother I
are
know would do that. They
yeah.
would think, ew, gross, my sister, you know?
Yeah. But that is how obsessed Lucas is with football, because he really is, and he always has been. Um
And it was so funny
yeah.
to listen to him, like, talk to himself. And he would, like, he'd be like this. And he'd be like, what's it? And he'd speak drills to himself. It was, like, all gibberish. But it
He'd be
was
like,
so
damn.
funny because I'd be like, in my REM sleep and I'd hear,
Yeah, he's calling plays under his breath. He's like,
yeah.
Blue 42, Blue 42, set.
And then we had these like little closing doors on the hallway. So we had like a balcony that looked over the living room. And we had these doors that like sectioned off the rooms. He used to frequently call them the gates, like he was being enclosed in there or something. But the thing is, he would cry.
And then your dad started calling on the gates. He was like, close the gates.
Close the gates. And what was so funny is, like, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but every single dad has a recliner. And so you kind of pick up on, like, the sounds of your parents. So as soon as Lucas would hear the sound of that recliner coming down, he'd start running back to his bed. He'd just hear his little feet pattering.
Yeah.
I also memorized, Blake has, like, an ankle pop every time he walks. Mm-hmm. So I would hear him, like, walking through the house, be like, oh, Blake's going to bed. Blake's getting a snack. I'd hear his ankle go.
It's like shuffle, 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 pop, shuffle, shuffle, pop, pop.
Yeah. Or like when mom would come and wake me up in the morning before school, I would hear her specific footsteps, and then I would hear the light switch on. I'm like, oh, that's mom. Time to get up.
Uh-huh. It's so crazy how you can like start familiarizing yourself with the sound of people.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or like, I know exactly which cat is getting into what if I hear a specific sound.
Exactly. And I'm the same way with the dogs. Crash is the worst, though, because he has the guiltiest expressions ever. So I can walk in the house and he'll be sitting there like,
oh, what did I do?
And I know immediately, I'm like, okay, what did you destroy?
He's so sweet, though.
He is. He's very sweet. Now, Taj, he cares zero about your feelings.
He's cranky grandpa.
Yeah, he's a Yorkie. He's just got the terrier personality.
Do you think you'll ever get another dog?
Yeah, so I actually want another one, and Blake was like, no. So it's a good thing that he's not the boss of me.
What kind of dog do you want?
I'm not sure.
I'm thinking about making Elias get a dog.
So that, Elias would love a spaniel.
Yeah, so that I can reap the benefits, you know.
Exactly.
Them chewing my things up.
Yeah, dogs are like, and it's so weird because they will only choose specific things that mean a lot to you and are expensive, like shoes. They'll get the best, most expensive pair of shoes and demolish them.
I think it's because it smells like you the most.
Probably.
Like in a gross way. Like it smells like feet, but that's like...
Exactly. Dogs are like, all of their smells are assaulting my nose.
They're like, must chew it up.
No, Crash eats stuff like towels.
That's
he will eat. I know, it's bizarre.
How does one consume a piece of cloth larger than them? You know,
that's a valid question. There's been a couple times that we really thought we could be on the borderline of having to have surgery, but luckily it came out. Yeah.
Yeah, you must keep like hydrogen peroxide like on hand at all times.
I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a good life tip there. If you have a dog who is eating something and you need to induce vomiting, hydrogen peroxide works like a charm.
Yeah.
Yep. You just get it in a little squirt bottle, or actually I've put it in a syringe, like one of those medicine syringes, and just squirted it in their mouth. But you got to make sure
Yeah.
you're outside, people. Do it in the
Yeah.
safety of your yard.
So speaking of yards, Mom has like quite the collection of plants. She's been becoming a botanist slowly. And
Yeah,
like when I was in high school,
for
I
real.
remember she would go and buy plants and they would die in a day. I mean, record time. So
Hmm.
it's so intriguing to see how you've stepped up your botany journey, because she actually gave me a plant and mine is currently growing up the railing of my balcony. It's very
It is.
long.
It's flourishing. It is flourishing. And that was I started that from a cutting.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's pretty
So
long now.
here's, yeah. So I will just tell you here, this is the key to it. You just have to water them. Who would have thought? So all those years before, I could have kept my plants from dying had I just watered them.
For some reason, I thought you did, but I guess I don't remember.
Eh. You have to you have to if you really want your plants to look great, and if you want to have like magazine plants that look all leafy and lush, you got to be involved in their day to day. You got to be in tune with, that begonia. If it looks like it's getting a little dried out, go over there and ask her, "Are you okay? You need a little bit of moisture? You need me
You're
to
speaking
floof
to
your
your
leaves?"
plants now? She's speaking to her plants.
I do. I'm like, "Bethany, it's gonna be okay. I'll give you a drink. Be still."
Personifying your house plants. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Uh-huh. And
Sounds like a novel title.
but no, it's just like anything else. So yeah, I killed everything my whole life, and I think it was just psychological because I wasn't at a place in my life where I wanted to be a caretaker of vegetation. So now
Hmm.
that we have moved out into the country, I psyched myself up the whole year that we were building this house. And I was like, I'm going to be a plant lady. I'm going to be a plant lady. I'm going to landscape. My plants are going to live. And I just
And you did
self-talked
it.
I did it. And then when we moved in here, like the spring came and I was like, this is it. This is my moment. So I just went and got a couple water hoses and, YouTube the rest.
That's something I really miss about like home in general. It's just the country, like being
Yeah.
isolated from traffic, people,
Yeah.
things.
Well, where you live, though, you have a lot of green areas and outdoor things to do. So at least you can
Yeah.
drive 5 miles and be literally on a mountain, to go
Yeah.
hike.
But I can't wait to be like a homeowner and just have my own space and my plants and everything. It'll
Oh,
be
and
so
you will
epic.
be soon. Well, you've got a plan. I mean, and hello, your mother is a mortgage lender. So
Yeah.
I will be happy to walk you through the journey of first time home ownership.
Thank goodness, because that's really something I didn't want to expend my brain cells on. I'll be honest. Like, I can't even wrap my head around the mortgage world. I'm sure if I tried, I probably could. But
Are you
why should I
crazy?
when I have Stefanie Lyles in the Centene
No,
mortgage
you
team?
can do advanced calculus. This is going to be like this is going to be very simple compared to advanced calculus. Okay, it'll be way
Still, I mean,
easier.
still, I'm so thankful that I have you to do some mortgage lending for me.
Yeah, well, I have to say, it is so convenient and is a life asset to have adult children who know how to do stuff.
Really? Because
It
I honestly
is.
feel kind of lost because I was trying to enroll in my benefits for my new job, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" It took me 2 days to
Um,
comprehend all of that stuff. I just
well,
learned that
nobody knows
APR.
anything about stuff like that until the first time they do it.
Well, my whole life, Mom and Blake have taught me to fear credit cards, which is a great thing. I think it's a great lesson.
Yes,
But
you
I
fear
just
credit card
learned,
debt.
yes, I just learned last week that APR only applied if you were late to pay. And this whole time, I was like, why would I get a credit card if I have to pay 20% plus 20% every time I pay it off?
Well,
But then
no,
I
that's not
understood,
considered. It's not
I
considered
just,
late. It's just if you don't pay that balance in full, then you carry a balance and that's what you pay interest on. So if you pay your
yeah,
balance
but
in full but yeah, if you're thinking of that
now that
as
I know
late, then
that,
you go for it. Yeah, if you go for it.
yeah, now that I know that, like, obviously I'm going to pay my stuff. Like, hello. But I
Right.
was like, why are these interest rates so high? Now I understand. I felt so
Yeah,
dumb
it's
for not
like
knowing that.
you only use a credit card to benefit you, which is going to be getting those points. So you're never going to pay interest on a credit card if you pay that
Yeah.
balance in full. But it's going to help things like your credit score. You can't rent a car without a credit card. There are some things that you have to have one for. But obviously, if you can't afford to pay cash for what you're buying, then you don't need to be putting it on any form of payment.
Nope.
Um, and that's just how it is. If you go to Sephora and you really need shampoo, but it's going to cost you $40 to get that set of conditioner and shampoo versus going to Walgreens, but you would have to put it on your credit card. Well, then I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, you better not buy it and you better use some apple cider vinegar for washing your hair until you get you some funds.
Yeah. And one thing we were talking about last night was, like, related to people not understanding, like, oh, I don't understand how people have a shopping budget put into. I don't understand how most people think most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm going on a bachelorette trip to Austin, Texas in October, okay? And there's like a group chat for all of us, and we've been planning this for like 2 or 3 months. And this, the bride's sister sent something in there and was like, okay, here's the Airbnb, whatever. 2 hours pass. One of the girls that's going messaged and was like, we need to switch cities. ACL is this weekend and we can't go. First of all, ACL is not that weekend. And
okay,
she's
so
saying,
pump the brakes for a second. So you're going on a bachelorette weekend.
yes,
This is a group text message. So this is all the girls that are going to go, the sister of the bride, the maid of honor, but the bride was not
yes,
in the messages, correct?
correct, correct.
Okay, so who is this? Who is this interloper,
So
interloper who is giving her last minute input?
she has been friends with the bride for 2 months.
Okay.
So this was a recent addition. She was saying, oh, yeah, my boyfriend is from Austin. I nannied in Austin. It's so far from everything. We don't need to book this. Yada, yada. It's going to be so expensive, whatever. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, why didn't she say this 3 weeks ago? Because that's when we picked the city, right? And she was in the group text. And so the sister was like more than nice about it and was saying, if you have any direct concerns, come to us, please, because, she was reaching out to the bride and complaining about the planners of her wedding to the
Uh-uh.
bride. I was like, what do you mean? And then as soon as she sent that message, the sister was like super nice and everything. The other girl who was complaining left the group message
Well,
immediately.
yeah, as she should have. And I hope she doesn't
Yeah.
go on the trip because she's going to be the person that falls asleep early and everybody like does something mean to her.
I can't even imagine. Like, can you imagine being that self-centered about an event that's not even for you? It's for like your
No.
friend. Like, and
Yeah.
maybe that would have been something you could have mentioned 3 weeks ago to the
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah. See, but I'm so far removed from even identifying with like going on a girls' trip.
I've
First
never
of
been on
all,
one either. This will be my first one.
I'm like, wow, a bachelorette trip. So, uh, I'm like, but yeah, don't be, especially in a group chat with people that you may not know that well. And I saw the messages, guys, and what she actually said was, Guys, my boyfriend lived in Austin last summer, and that house is far AF from everything.
And
That
maybe
is what it
this is
said.
something. Maybe
AF
this
is
is
rude.
something that happens regularly in groups of girls, but I wouldn't know. So I'm just eating this up. I'm laughing
Yeah.
my butt off at these text messages like, I cannot believe this is real. Maybe it
Yeah.
happens every day.
I mean, and the sister, like they were very nice, because I
Yeah.
probably would have been like, you're voted off the island.
Seriously,
Good-
I commend her. I
yeah,
commend her for
goodbye.
being so gracious. Oh my
Be like,
goodness.
well, who asked you, Barbara?
After she left the group chat, I just said, I'm dead, LMAO. And all the girls in the group chat just laughed at it.
It's like, nobody cares,
Like, I can't.
Nancy.
I wish I had seen it earlier, but at the same time, I guess I didn't. I saved myself. But I would have said something. And I guess that's why I don't really hang out in big flocks of girls, because I say too much of what's on my brain at all times.
Yeah. And or not enough. And then because you're not the person that's oversharing, then they're like,
yeah, you must be upset.
Skylar's weird.
Yeah.
What's wrong with her?
Yeah. So, I'm like, I'm just
I get it.
Trying to decompress. Like,
I know. Yeah. Well, so what I would like to do, let's revisit this. Let's do when you start getting hot and heavy in your home buying journey, I want to do like a weekly check-in, and we can start filling everybody in on doing that as a first-time home buyer. I would like to use you as that because you're my daughter, and we can talk freely
like
about
house hunters journey.
Exactly. Except your budget is going to be way lower than house hunters. Some of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because some of those people on there, I'm like, whoa, their budget is in the millions, and I'm not even sure that they have jobs.
So it'll be a very realistic FHA, first-time homeowner type, loan type, business type podcast.
Amazing. Yes. So, gorgeous daughter, I really appreciate you coming on today and letting me pick your brain. So,
well, thanks so much for having me. It's so great.
I would love to have you on as a regular guest. And
of course,
love you very much. And
love you.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.